very, very exciting to see you all, like kind of dream beginning to become real, kind of a plan becoming a reality. So, very exciting. And also I was asked to give personal testimony. So personal it will be. So for many years I'm trying to work towards promoting more social justice in Israel-Palestine. And ending the occupation is one, or maybe my main objective in this direction. During these years, as a peace and social activist, I've been involved in many activities. These values and perspectives became central issues in my personal and in my family life, as well as in my professional life as a clinical psychologist. For example, as part of a professional network in Israel called Psychoactive, we have been developed a therapeutic framework focusing on what we've been calling politically sensitive psychotherapy. During these all years, I find it is sometimes extremely difficult to maintain my loyalty to these values while at the same time taking an active role in a society and maintaining close social relationship with my friends, my old friends, especially with my old friends from school, from the army, from kindergarten of the children. Many of my friends presumably share the same set of values, yet oppose any action taken to actively pursue them, especially when this means challenging their comfort zone or challenging the sacred national narrative. For me, the climax of this emotional tension, being torn between loyalties, was in the summer of 2014, during what was named the Protective Edge Operation, Zuketan, in Hebrew. During 2 months, with an attempt of securing the southern border, the IDF was severely attacking and bombing Gaza, as we all know. Even though Israel was using innovative methods to minimize the casualties, the total price paid was of more than 70 Israeli soldiers dead and much more than 2,000 Palestinians dead, out of which so many were children and women. Strongly believing that the operation could have been avoided and that it is part of the ongoing violent cycle, where every round gives birth to the next, we went out to the streets to resist and to protest, and to call the government to stop this war. At the same time, most of the people, including our best friends, were all strongly united, backing up the operation with strong expressions of patriotism. In every corner, and even while driving in the streets, you would be handed an Israeli flag, small flag for the car, and could see big banners encouraging and supporting the soldiers. Our protests were strongly confronted, not only by nationalist movements, but rather by the majority of the people supporting the government and backing the military. Many times we were called traitors, also by our close friends. Sometimes we had much violence in the streets, in the groups. And in my family, my youngest son, Itamar, was drafted to the reserves, and after a lot of hesitation, he decided to refuse to join the operation. This act itself created tension in our family, since his father, being in his past a major in a combat unit, was very ambivalent of Itamar's not taking an active part. Itamar's father was also torn between his personal resistance to the operation and his strong belief in the equal responsibility we all have to the People's Army. So although I was relieved from my personal worries about my son, I still felt worried for the other soldiers. You know, in Israel, we keep saying that we mothers are mothers of all soldiers. This is a saying, in my opinion, which has so many meanings and implications. So anyway, I felt my motherhood goes beyond the Israeli soldiers and beyond the Israeli children in the south to the children of Gaza. Mm-hmm. This entire situation was very painful, frustrating, even scary sometimes. So many times I felt lonely and misunderstood in my society. I felt anger and sadness at the same time. For me, the only way then to cope with these feelings and hardships was trying to contain them all. I think that containing them all means trying to practice patience and compassion, maybe tolerance. It also means persistent in believing that it is possible to be pro-Israel and at the same time to object the policies of the government, to resist the government, to criticize the government. Being an activist doesn't contradict patriotism, in my opinion. Maybe on the contrary. For me, being an activist is to be responsible to the justice and the well-being of all, without separation between we and them, between us and them. For me, this was my way. For me, it was the third way, the way that we try to call responsible Judaism, the way of reconnecting with the core Jewish values of avoiding evil and pursuing peace. Fulfilling my responsibility as Israeli means implementing these Jewish values out of the Jewish democratic state in which I believe. Both the Jewish values as well as the Israeli flag do not belong to the government or its supporters. We all share them equally. They are also mine. Thank you.